All right. What's going on, YouTube fam? What's going on? It's your boy, Mr. James Carrington, back at it again. Yeah, back at it again to chop up another WhatsApp video that was trending a couple days ago in Ghana. I actually started to make a video on this, but then I got distracted and I had to stop and put it on the back burner while I went and took care of some other things. But today I have time for you. You know why? Because I appreciate you. And since I appreciate you, do you know what you can do for me, folks? I need you to hit that subscribe button, to hit that like button, and to hit that share button so you can share this video with a couple of your friends and family and loved ones. It's not much to ask. SSL, subscribe, share, and like. It's only going to take about a few seconds. And as a matter of fact, because I'm such a great host, I am going to give you guys a minute to do that. And while you're doing that, I'll be checking my cell phones to see if I have gotten any texts from some secret admirers and some side chicks. So 1 minute you guys got. Hit the subscribe, share, and like buttons. Oh, and the notification bell. Nope. No side chick messages here. What is she texting me that? No. All right. If you guys done that, okay. All right. So let's get into it. Now, this video right here, if you don't like blood and you're squeamish and you don't like you can't stand the sight of, gore, then this video might not be for you. I suggest you skip and you go find some other videos that I've done and watch it. But hey, if you don't mind, I don't mind. So let's get into it.
I don't know. Yes, sir. Don't know. Yes, sir.
Video no masa, ni video no. Anya usuka no. Huh? Police officer oh, who you say?
Oof. God damn. This dude is messed up. Let me let the video finish playing out.
Huh? Police officer, who you say? Let me stop that. Policeman, let me stop that. Huh? Let me stop that. Policeman. Huh? Yeah, the one Chicano. Huh? No, Chicano. Huh? Policeman. As a police officer, policeman. Master, what you know? Sorry, move. Sorry, when you're running call.
Hello, Agman. Car an accident. No money near here. An accident. Move ahead. Police. Bame. Okay.
All right. So you guys caught that, right? You caught that. Man. I don't know, man. I don't know. So if you're Ghanaian and you are watching this, you Clearly, obviously, you understood what was going on. But for my American viewers and my non-Ghanaian viewers, let me break it down for you. So clearly, as you could see, this was a police officer. He had been involved in an automobile accident, and he was hurt badly. I think his whole left hand is gone. So, under normal circumstances, what should the people who have arrived on the scene do? They should call an ambulance for him or put him in the car and take him to the nearest hospital, right? So he can receive badly needed medical attention. But as you could see from the video, that is not happening. So then the question becomes, why is that? Okay. Now you guys saw those yellow packages that were on the floor, right? Okay. On the ground, I should say. So apparently this guy was driving and he had those packages which appeared, they appeared to look like contraband. I mean, I don't know what was in them. Let me see.
Foolish man. Let me stop that. Huh? Let me stop that. Foolish man. Huh? Yeah, the one that you can. Huh? No, you can. Huh? Foolish man. As a police officer, foolish man. Master, what you know? Sorry, move. Sorry, when you're running call.
Now, you guys see those yellow packages? Now, I'm no forensic criminologist or anything of that nature, but look at that. But I can clearly tell you that that ain't baby formula that he has in those yellow packages. That is not corn dough. It's not wheat. It's not rice. It's not millet. It's not soybeans. It's not baby formula. It's not baby powder. That looks like some contraband. That looks like some kilos. Okay. And he had a whole Ghana must go bag full of them. So the question everybody is trying to figure out is, where was he going with this stuff? And that's what the people in the video are basically prodding him to, and he keeps telling them that it's not his. It is possible that it's not his. It is possible that he was transporting this stuff, but didn't even know what was in there. I made a video, and if you haven't seen it, go back to the library or the archives and go look for it, where I gave you guys an example of how people, drug dealers, sometimes use, innocent people into transporting drugs for them. Well, the moment you decide to transport drugs for a drug dealer, you're no longer innocent, right? But the truth of the matter is, a lot of times there are people who end up becoming drug mules without knowing that they're drug mules. There are people who, countless people who have spent time in jail, who have languished in jail because they inadvertently transported drugs, illegal drugs, for drug dealers. When I was a kid growing up in Nigeria, back in the 80s, I remember the drug game was so big at the time in Nigeria. Okay. The drug game was so big in Nigeria at the time. Because if you look at the history of the drug game globally, cocaine It's cocaine, heroin, and whatever. But for the sake of this discussion, we'll just stick to cocaine. When cocaine started making it or started being produced en masse in a lot of South American countries, because they're the ones that have the climate and the soil to make the coca plant, right? And these drug cartels were looking for distribution routes. Of course, America was, which is the biggest consumer, was right there. America was the closest. So, they had one way to, or one pathway to send their stuff to America, just island hop the drugs and then, get it into Mexico and drive it across the border, or get it onto, island hop it on planes and fast boats, get it into Miami, and boom, you're in America. But of course, the authorities started to catch on to that. And then there was Europe. Cocaine was being consumed in Europe as well. Okay? So, why serve just one customer when you can serve two, right? So, the cartels had to figure out a way to get cocaine to Europe from South America. Now, that was no easy task or easy feat, but one of the things they quickly discovered, was that they could bring the drugs to Africa and then have the drugs make its way from Africa to Europe. Because I guess, Africa, at the time, customs and all that stuff, very loose. The security was very lacking. Okay. You could transport anything through Africa. All you had to do was bribe a couple of officials and you would, you'd be able to transport whatever you needed across the continent into Europe. So Nigeria became sort of like a hub for a lot of drug dealing activity. All right, in the 80s. And you have to understand what was going on in Nigeria at the time too. They had discovered oil in the 60s, and Nigeria was kind of booming in the 80s. Okay, there was money in the country. And if you weren't making money at the time, you kind of felt left out, right? Because you turned on the TV and you saw people spending money and enjoying life. Okay, whether it was money that they had gotten from oil, okay, because they were in the oil industry, or it was money gotten from ill-gotten gains, or whatever. The point is, the display of opulence was there for all to see. And if you were an average Nigerian and someone approached you and said, hey, listen, you've never been on a plane, right? You're like, yeah. Would you like to get on a plane and fly to London or fly to Paris or fly to whatever? You'd be like, well, hell yeah. And especially if they said, you know what, you don't even have to worry about the visa. You don't have to worry about anything, travel arrangements, all that stuff. We have people in the proper channels or in the right channels that'll take care of all that. All we need for you to do is take these two pieces of luggage, these two suitcases over here, and Friday by 8 o'clock, you'll be on the plane on your way to London or to Paris or to wherever. If you were the average Nigerian and someone came to you with a proposition like that, you would say yes. And so what happened was a lot of, well, I don't have numbers, so let me not say a lot. I was a child then, so to me it seemed like a lot. But there was quite, let me put it this way, there was quite a considerable amount of drug smuggling through Nigeria back in the 80s. And it became so bad that Nigeria instituted the death penalty if you were caught with drugs at Murtala International Airport. I remember that. I was a child, but I used to watch the news. I've told you guys this several times on the audio podcast. I used to watch the news. It's a habit that was instilled in me by my parents. So it got so bad. If you got caught with drugs in Lagos, it was the death penalty for you. And yet that did not deter people from trying to smuggle drugs. It might have deterred a few, but it didn't deter others. So what the drug dealers started doing was they were like, okay, sometimes, if we tell someone that they're going to be, carrying drugs, obviously they're going to say no. Chances are they'll say no. So they would actually, this is what would happen. You are coming to the States or you're coming to Britain from Nigeria for a 2-week vacation or whatever. And then all of a sudden, some rich, quote unquote, rich friend of yours is like, hey, listen, my cousin in London can't get access to Nigerian outfits. So he made me sew a whole bunch of outfits for him here. He sent me his dimensions and I gave it to a tailor down here who custom made some outfits for him. So I have a whole piece of luggage, right, containing outfits that I have made for him. Just, add it to yours. I'll pay for the extra luggage. Plus here's an extra $500 or whatever. Just go give it to my cousin. And so this is where people will inadvertently transport drugs for drug dealers, because what the drug dealer wouldn't say to you is that in addition to the clothes that you're seeing, I have also lined I also have the inner linings of the suitcase with drugs. That was one way by which people would inadvertently bring drugs to the West. And like I said, a lot of people got caught. Another thing that I remember, another strategy that I remember they would employ was they would have the drug mules swallow these pellets of cocaine powder. They look like taffies, okay, little taffies all wrapped, one long line of taffies. They look like pellets. And they would have the mule swallow them. Now, if you did that, you were no longer innocent. You knew what you were carrying. You were trying to hide it from the authorities. So they would swallow these pellets of drugs, and then they would go to the airport. And of course, there are no drugs in the luggage, so they would go through customs, and they would bring it to the West or to Europe. When they got to Europe, then they would, pass it out through the rear end. That was another way. The problem with that, the problem with the pellet swallowing, was that for those of you who have never been to Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos, oh man, Murtala Mohammed is the most chaotic airport on planet Earth. I've been through there a couple times. I was through there as a child a couple times, and I've been through there, well, only once as an adult. But when I went through there as an adult, I realized nothing had changed. It had even gotten worse, if you'll ask me. So you know how, you get to the airport, you check in for an international flight, you expect if your flight is at 11 p.m., ideally, if your flight is at 11 p.m., you should take off, even if the flight is delayed. You should take off at like maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes, right? Not at Muritala Muhammad International. So what some of these drug couriers were finding out the hard way back in the 80s is they would get to Muritala Muhammad, check in, go through customs, and here they're sitting there at 10:30. Their flight is supposed to leave at 11, and they think they're going to be on their flight by 11. By 10:45, the call for boarding still hasn't come in. By 10:50, the call for boarding still hasn't come in. 10:55. Here comes the announcer. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are on flight 236 to Brussels, Belgium, we are sorry to announce that the flight has been delayed by a couple of hours. We have no further information, or Nigerians would say information at this time. Right then and there, you realize you are screwed. Because the pellets are still inside of you. The acid in your stomach is melting the pellets away. And whoever put this thing inside you was not did not use packaging that did not factor in the fact that there might be delays, or even if they did, they didn't care. The packaging is only designed to last a couple hours. It's only designed, if your flight is 6 hours long, the packaging might be designed to last 6 hours, 30 minutes. Now here you have a delay, a 3-hour delay. What are you going to do? A lot of drug couriers had to find out the hard way. Packages started exploding inside of people. Massive overdose right then and there at the airport. People would be sitting there. Just imagine you sitting next to a fellow passenger. You're bitching and complaining about, God, I can't believe they canceled this flight. Can you believe this, man? Can you believe this? And the passenger is looking at you like, yeah. And then all of a sudden, they start going into a seizure. They start foaming at the mouth uncontrollably, just seizing all over the place. And you're looking at them like, are you okay? I mean, how you going to get a seizure just because the flight was delayed? It ain't that serious, bro. Unbeknownst to you, he's going into a seizure because he's overdosing. The pellets of cocaine are exploding or starting to leak into his system. So a couple of couriers died that way. And the Nigerian authorities caught on to it. So they started x-raying people at the airport. And it's funny, again, as a child, I saw so many, stories like this on television, and they would show the x-ray pictures and you could see the pellets, the x-ray films of the pellets inside the person. These were the ones that were lucky, okay? These were the ones who got x-rayed, were lucky, and the authorities saw that and they were like, Tunde, come here for a minute now. Come and take a look at this. What does that look like to you inside that passenger? Anyway, so why did I bring all of that up? I brought all of that up to give you guys a little bit of historical context, and also for you to understand why we cannot assume that this police officer here was the rightful owner or even knew that he was transporting this contraband. You understand? So yeah, the people are over there, they're yelling at him, they're calling him foolish man, and he's saying, oh, the stuff is not mine. I'm telling you, the stuff is not mine, but they're not listening to him. So it will be interesting to to see what happens, and I'm going to keep a keen eye on this story. And if I hear any feedback or any updates on it, I will let you guys know. All right. So that'll be it for today. It's your boy, Mr. James Carrington, signing off. And again, if you haven't done it, please go hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and like the video. And also share the video if you liked it. Okay. We're slowly growing, and I'm really counting on your help to grow the viewership. All right. That'll be it for today. Today's a Friday. You guys enjoy your weekend. Be kind to your fellow man. And don't do what I wouldn't do. I'm out.